Hello everyone, this is Pramita here. Today I'm going to kick off, the journaling tips and tricks series that I had been planning for a while, and I hope to show you a few tricks how to do your background for your journals. Now, before you start journaling, what I found was the pretty blank pages were pretty boring for me. I wanted something more out of it, but I didn't have much time to work on those pages. So I sought out some cheat methods, quick and easy ways which will give a sudden pop to your paper and make your journals more attractive. Now, this is all of personal preference. What I may like, you might not prefer. So, and I don't tend to buy a lot of stuff unless and until I need it. Because I find that buying craft supplies is just a big black hole. Once you enter into it, there's no way out, and you tend to buy more and more and use less and less. So I'll just stick to the stuff that I have in hand, and there are millions of stuff other than these which you can use on your journals as the background. Now, first easy way that you can do as a background is using a pattern paper. Now, when you're using a pattern paper, I must tell you one thing that try to uh, glue the pattern paper on the page a little bit away from the spine. Otherwise, what happens is it tends to bulk your journal up, and you will have difficulty later on in closing the pages. So, if you have any plans of sticking a page on your journal, try to do it away from a little bit away from the spine. Like I will show you if I have one out here. I don't think I've done it in this journal because I tend to switch things up a little bit here and there. In my previous journal, I had glued a number of pattern papers, and I always do it a little bit away from the spine. You can see how I've moved away from the spine because the spine is a part from where your notebook is going to get closed. So don't stick a paper very close to the spine, a little bit away from the spine. So that is one trick you can do by just pasting a piece of pattern paper, cardstock paper, or any paper that you have, a wrapping paper, a napkin of sorts, anything. But personally, I have not journaled on a piece of napkin because I thought maybe I'll have difficulty in writing over them. But you can always add them as a trim to the side as a background. So that's one thing that you can do, adding pattern paper, number one. Number two is the easiest way that I do, that is using watercolor. Now, when you're using watercolor, keep one thing in mind. Keep the color as diluted as possible. But remember one thing, all papers don't take watercolor very happily. So they might warp up, they might, just bulk up, which you might not like later on. But if you have a decent quality paper, I don't think you will have any problem with watercoloring as long as a little bit of warping doesn't bother you. So that's one thing that you can do. And the other thing that you can do is using water soluble color pencils and crayons. Now, there are a ton of color pencils which are water soluble, or watercolor pencils as they are called, from reasonable brands to very expensive ones like Inktense pencils and whatnot. But I have a set of Stradler color pencils which I will show you how to create backgrounds without using water with the help of a watercolor pencil. Now, for that you'll need, of course, a watercolor pencil and a wet wipe, or the baby wipes that you get, and you will rub the pencil like this so that the color is generated. It's transformed on the wet tissue itself. Okay, so see how the color is getting transformed. Now this is your watercolor brush of sorts. Now how you're going to use this, I'm going to show you. Now here I have used the same thing on another piece of paper. I'm going to show it how I do it on this piece of paper. Now remember, I have already rubbed off the red color. This is my finger. I've just put it inside this like a dauber, and I'm just going to color it up. It depends how strong you want the color to be. If you want it light, you can do it. Now you still have a ton of color left, as you can see, and you can use them. Now this has an advantage, like it is not as it does not make your papers as crumbly or warped up like watercolors do. So it's fairly convenient also, like you can do it anywhere and it dries off pretty quickly, and you can journal within an hour or two, maybe half an hour. Just needs to dry a little bit. So this is it. This is how you can add watercolor backgrounds without using watercolor. Now this is, remember, this is your watercolor pencil. This is not your watercolor. And you've just used the wet tissue and the watercolor pencil to create this background. Now the next thing that I'm going to show you is the same thing with the watercolor crayons. Now there are certain companies which make watercolor crayons. I have this from the Stradler company. This opens up like a lipstick, okay, and this opens up like a lipstick, so you can use them in the same fashion. Just wipe the color on the baby wipe. Now you have the color transferred. Now you need to transfer this color to another sheet of paper. So this is another sheet of paper that I have, and I'm going to transfer this color So this is how you can transfer color with the help of wet tissue from the dry pencil or the crayons onto your journal pages. Now once your journal pages are colored, then you can journal on them, add ephemera, tip-ins and whatnot. You can go to any extent you want to. So we have already talked about the watercolor pencils, watercolor crayons. Now I'm going to show you how you can use distress stains. Now distress stains come in bottles like this, okay, and they have a dauber at the top. But unfortunately, since I live in India, we don't have a great variety of distress markers, distress stains. So we can't get that much, but it is actually a very easy way of adding backgrounds to your journals. So here is the paper. I'm going to show you how to do this. Just dab it a little bit till the color comes out. There's a sponge sort of thing at the head, and yeah. So there's how you can add color to your backgrounds. And they dry off pretty quickly. They don't warp up the pages. They have a few advantages, but what I don't like is the colors are too bright for my taste, and it's very hard to get what you like in India. So, and it's pretty expensive also. So I just have a few of them, 3-4 colors, which I use sparingly. So that's it. And another thing that I sometimes do is use stencils. Now, stencil is a very easy way to add pop to your page, like so. Now what I can do is, I have distress stain. sorry, distress ink. Okay, and I have a dauber. So what I can do is I can take this ink and I can stencil this word love. See, I already have a background done over here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to add a little bit of see how it has come out. So you can add stencils to your background and make it more attractive. What I found with stencils is if you combine stencils with watercolor or distress stain background, they come out awesome. Like you 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 tend to love your artwork also. You just fall in love with that, whatever you have done. So just look how beautiful it has come out to be. And I have done another one with the word enjoy. Now these are Heidi Swap mini stencils that I have in my stash. I have told you previously I don't buy a lot of crafting materials because I am not a big crafter. I just use them in my journals. So I buy them as much, whichever ones I know I'll use. Otherwise, I don't buy them because they come pretty expensive in India and we don't have Michaels, we don't have 40%, 60% off coupons. So we have to be very careful about what we buy. So this is how you can add a background to your journal. You can use watercolor and then stencil on top of that. It comes out awesome. So these are just a few of the stuff that I have done on the pages. I hope to continue the series in a periodic manner. Like it'll come with a second installment within a few days time. So keep watching, and if you like this, please give it a thumbs up. Or if you want to see more of these type of videos, then subscribe to my channel. Bye.